Well, welcome to Rodney Parade for this round 3 clash between the Dragons and the Sharks, both desperate to recover from defeats last weekend. Well, Di Flanagan's rung the changes, replacing more than half the team that lost at the Aviva. Leon Brown is a late withdrawal on the day. He's replaced by Chris Coleman in the front row. First appearance for Taine Basham this season at 7. Aneurin Owen is back in the midfield, this time alongside Harry Wilson. And Angus O'Brien has shaken off that leg injury, and he is back in the starting lineup at 15. Will Reid set to make his first appearance this season off the bench. There are 2 sets of brothers in this Sharks side that shows only one change to the team that fell to Connacht in Galway. The pack entirely the same, with the Tshituka brothers lining up in the back row together. And Jaden Hendrickson, fresh from Springboks duty, joins his brother Jordan in the Sharks backline. His inclusion is the only change. Andre Esterhuizen will hope to continue his try-scoring form after his blistering brace against Connacht last weekend. So the conditions set fair here in Newport. There was a bit of rain in the forecast. It's yet to materialise as the Sharks enter the field of play. There's not a capacity crowd here in Newport, but the faithful are lining the terraces. And the Sharks, of course, Challenge Cup champions last season, but finished a lowly 14th in the URC. They possess one of the most star-studded squads in this league. They should be doing better than that. There's Andre Esterhuizen, Andre the Giant. He's a Shark now after years with Harlequins. And here come the Dragons. Ben Carter, captain for the season, running out for his 3rd consecutive start. Behind him you saw the veteran Dan Lydiate, 36 years of age, and because of an injury this week to Harry Keddy, Lydiate, the player coach this season, will be starting tonight. Still a bit of life in those old legs. And there's Basham, suffered with a bit of tendinitis over the summer, missed Wales's summer tour of Australia, but he is back in the saddle now and raring to go. A lot of competition in this Dragons back row for places. And alongside me for this one on Premier Sports is Mr. Thomas Shanklin. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, Ross. Good evening, everyone. Perfect conditions here at the Dragons. This is a game they have at home. They've got 3 on the bounce now at home. That's perfect for them. Pretty strong team. I just think for the Dragons now, if they can stop Esterhuizen at 12 for the Sharks, then they've got a good chance today.
So Andrew Brace, the official, blasts on his whistle to get things going here at Rodney Parade.
And use it!
Rhodri Williams making his first start of the season, being told to use it, and he goes to the air. Hendrickson safely underneath that one. And an early turnover from the Dragons. We mentioned the strength of that back row, and emerging from the bottom of the pile, it's the new signing, Shane Lewis-Hughes, all smiles.
First arriving player isolated.
That's a really good turnover. You're right, Ross, it is a big back row. A lot of size there, some big carriers. And Shane Lewis-Hughes there gets in an awesome position over the ball, inviting the Sharks to run back. As soon as they hit the ground, Shane Lewis-Hughes is over it. Good tackle from Basham, look at that, working in tandem. 6 and 7, 7 making the tackle. Shane Lewis-Hughes straight over, supported by Dan Lydiate.
So an early opportunity for Lloyd Evans, another new summer signing for the Dragons, started all 3 games for them so far. A chance for him to kick the Dragons into an early lead. But he's missed. That one is wide of the left-hand upright. Early opportunity gone for the Dragons.
22. All behind.
So it's Sia Masuku, the heavyweight Sharks fly half, who will Kick-off, he's partially charged down as Brodie Coghlan scrambles to try and gather that one, but it's back in Sharks' hands as they look to launch an attack from their own 22. Esterhuizen. He's quickly brought to ground. And it's another penalty for the Dragons, another turnover on the floor. And once again, it's Shane Lewis-Hughes. He cannot stop smiling.
Rightly so. He's up for it today.
Clear release and back on the ball, 6.
2 touches and both been turnovers. Straight on it. And the key to this as well is just getting the players down straight away. Esterhuizen, who is the Sharks' best carrier, scored 2 tries last week. It's just put the ground straight away, and you put players to ground straight away, you've got a chance then for your back row to get over the top. You can see it here. Brought down well. It's Harry Wilson.
Oh, sorry, I've got a
Shane Lewis-Hughes as well. But the key is releasing him, and he's straight on it. No Sharks player is able to affect that ruck.
Yeah.
He's enjoying himself, isn't he?
You've got to be. 2 turnovers in 3 minutes.
In his preferred jersey today as well, in the 6th jersey on the blindside flank. He's played 8 in his opening 2 games for the Dragons. So an immediate chance for Lloyd Evans to atone for that miss. No danger this time, straight through the middle. And on the second attempt, Lloyd Evans kicks the Dragons into a 3-0 lead.
A bit of pressure there on Lloyd Evans. The first kick was quite a way out. This one is in the range that he should get. He's cleanly struck it. And Dragons deserve this 3-point lead.
Yep, solid start this for the Dragons. 2 turnover penalties inside the first 3 minutes. As Williams looks to engineer this exit, but that's sloppy. And the Sharks have turned the ball over. There's Tshituka, but Taine Basham charging up there and forcing his fellow back rower backwards. But the Sharks look now to get it to the edge. Ethan Hooker makes a good bit of ground beyond the tackle. Hendrickson. And Grobler tried to offload on the inside, but didn't quite go to hand, and the Dragons have the ball. O'Brien, first receiver. Lloyd Evans looks up and sees huge bit of space there, and Hendrickson doesn't manage to control that one, allows it to bounce over the try line as Jared Rosser hairs down and puts pressure on the fullback.
Turned him a good kick, that. The key was that it hit the ground. Just turned Hendrickson. But you just saw a little bit of lack of communication with the Dragons there. They were looking for that tip-on pass. Didn't go to hand, it wasn't expected.
Happy, Sharks?
But another good turnover for them, just around the halfway line. Just allows Lloyd Evans to release a little bit of pressure.
Here's big Harry Wilson, the Aussie.
Oh.
And Basham loves the contact as Taine Basham. Williams. And Aneurin Owen isolated a little bit. And Tshituka brings him to ground. Carter, the captain.
Last feet, please. Thank you. Now use it!
It's Chris Coleman just joining the ruck there. Late replacement for Leon Brown. Arguably the most unfortunate man in Welsh rugby. That is a comfortable mark taken there by Masuku. And he's taken it quickly. O'Brien.
Dragons, bring him on!
Again, targets Hendrickson at the back, who has to cover a lot of ground, and he's not going to get that ball before it dribbles into touch. And that is a 50-22.
That is a 50-22, and that is perfect technique. If he kicks that ball a little bit high, it's going to get held in the wind, but he sort of roundhouse kicks it, has to drill it low, which means the ball's not in the air for a long time, which means Hendrickson can't get there. Brilliant kick that from Angus O'Brien.
Yeah, a real bonus for the Dragons having essentially 3 fly halves in this back line. We've got Lloyd Evans and Aneurin Owen comfortable at 10, and Angus O'Brien has played there many times. A lot of footballing ability in this Dragons back line. But this time they cut down the blind side with Williams, and there's Rhodri Jones. And the Dragons have started very brightly here at Rodney Parade. Williams digging for that ball. Back to the blind side, little grubber through from Lloyd Evans. That one's safely gathered Sharks still on the back foot. That's Dylan Richardson, the Scottish international.
Yep. And use it. Hold on.
Bit of indecision from Lloyd Evans there, and he's scragged in the tackle. Still on the Dragons' side. Coghlan. There's Shane Lewis-Hughes.
Taken back. Dragons.
Lloyd Evans in the pocket. This one goes high. It's hanging. Underneath it. Oh. It was initially gathered by Ntuthuko on the left wing, but the ball spills from his grasp, and yet again the Dragons have a turnover. Basketball stuff from Taine Basham, but
no advantage.
He holds on to possession. No advantage coming from that knock on, and it'll be the first scrum of the evening.
Good call there to put the ball up in the air, nothing on. You just need that clear communication from 9 and 10 to boss the game.
Okay, let's go, Dragons.
Rio Dyer does well, gets off the ground, just does enough to put two of the Sharks players off. I think that could have been a penalty as well, because he comes off a Sharks player when it's knocked forward. Got away with that.
No, not yet, mate. Okay, good to go.
I think that's the game management you want to see from the Dragons. If they've tried 2 or 3 times and it's not on, they don't want to keep getting knocked back and being dominated in a tackle. Just put the ball to the air with a good chase.
Okay, left to the mark.
Your old pal, Warren Gatland.
Discipline on bind phase.
In the stands alongside Jonathan Humphreys.
Discipline on bind phase.
The Six Nations will be upon us in no time.
They'll be keeping a close eye on a lot of these players.
Really slow.
You know, it's difficult to pick the team at the moment. They'll be looking massively on form, who's playing well, what teams are playing well. There's a lot of competition up for grabs at the moment in all aspects of that team. 1 to 15.
Shane Lewis-Hughes may well have caught their eye in these opening 8 minutes. A player who's got 3 caps to his name, all won under Wayne Pivac. Warren Gatland yet to pick him, but he's making an impression in this Dragon side.
He is. Had a good game against the Ospreys, the first game of the season. It's a little bit difficult to stand out from any player against Leinster, but he started very brightly so far.
Bind. Set. Stay ball. All the way.
A bit of pressure on that Dragon scrum. The ball has bobbled out, and they've lost a bit of ground here. And Aneurin Owen doing the clearing up work. Williams again sees hookers just up a bit high. Puts the ball over the winger's head, but penalty to the Dragons.
Lower in the tackle, please. Just a penalty.
So marginally high tackle there.
There was a knock on first, wasn't there? And then the high tackle came.
High tackle, lower.
It seems like this is in range for Lloyd Evans.
Good for me, boy, live.
Had one similar in the first couple of minutes.
They're going to go to the corner with this one.
I don't know, Ross. I think it's worth a stab at goal. This is where the tackle happens on an Aneurin Owen. Just a tiny bit too high. Steps back inside. Ooh.
Just time off.
Yeah, there appeared to be a shoulder to the head there.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Brace is going to have a look at this.
We're just checking level of sanction, right?
From that angle, James Venter doesn't dip that much. When we see the replay, it's whether or not an Aneurin Owen dips enough for it to warrant mitigation.
So it's Brian McNeice is the TMO in the truck.
So Andy, that's full speed, and we're going to slow down for point of contact now.
Then this could be a yellow card.
Full speed again there, boy.
Yeah, we're just lining up full speed again. Just stand by.
Don't think this is a red card, but...
So I have a decision when you're ready, mate.
It's number 6 white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just hold until you're on the screen. Just waiting to cue you, Andy. Just stand by. Right, you're on screen now.
So this foul play is upright and it's clear head contact. It's not high level of danger, so it's just a yellow card.
Correct.
Yeah, number 6.
As you called, Mr.
Just
Shanklin.
not high level of danger, so it's just yellow.
Not a high level of danger, but Venter was
that's
always
what's yellow.
upright in that tackle. And by
6.
being upright, you always run the risk of falling foul of the referee. So another penalty for the Dragons, and the penalty count mounting against the Sharks already, which is 10 minutes in.
Yeah, mate.
Well, I make that 5 penalties conceded already.
Which makes going for the corner even better now that the yellow card has happened.
So Brodie
Hold on your
Coghlan
one, please.
to throw into this lineup. 3rd start in a row for the young hooker.
Really impressed with him, Ross, a hooker. Proper nugget of a player.
Ball.
Yeah, he's aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Elliot D still sidelined with injury, and Bradley Roberts having retired, of course, so really good opportunity for Coghlan
No, yellow
to get a few games under his belt. Did that go backwards?
I've just got a knock on.
Just nudged it forward. Just as we were singing his praises. An unfortunate error for Coghlan.
Yeah, looked like Rhodri Williams tapped him, wanted the ball a little bit earlier.
I could be wrong, but I've got it on the arm, okay? So unless TMO's got anything different, so it's just a knock on, all right?
Here we go. Ooh. It's gone back.
It's just whether he's hit the ball or not, right?
You can't do that. He's off his feet.
Yeah, okay.
You're off your feet.
Yeah.
Well, discipline
I thought it was on the hand, but it's on the
is
ball.
becoming a
You're off
real
your feet,
factor
you play
already
the
for the
ball.
Sharks. Lots of silly and careless penalties, and in that case, a needless
Sorry,
one.
Ben. Yeah.
That's very cynical, that penalty. Lying on the ruck. Off your feet. Quite easily could have been a yellow card. Another one.
Captain, it's a lot of penalties.
Poor
there,
discipline
okay?
that from the Sharks. Should know better. Big opportunity now for the Dragons. They need to start converting some of these red zone entries.
Good contest.
Take 2, and that wasn't a clean line out for the Dragons.
No!
Matthew Screech dispossessed of the ball in the air. So a reprieve for the Sharks. But Shane Lewis-Hughes again just wrestles his way into that, makes a mess of the Sharks' attempt to
Say
exit.
last feet and use it. Last feet.
Hendrickson played his part, of course, in the recent Rugby Championship victory for South Africa. Played in their final game where they really put Argentina to the sword.
Okay, good gap now.
That throw just needed to be slightly higher for Matthew Screech.
Got to be quicker. Just time off. Time off. I've just said keep them on you, please. Don't close the gap. No, it's there. Okay, hold the gap. A half a metre off the hooker. Come on.
So Taine Basham in the back line as the Dragons look to get things moving with attack. Lloyd Evans floats that pass over to Shane Lewis-Hughes on the right-hand side, but he takes it standing still.
Yes, ball is out. Ball is out.
There's Dan Lydiate, the old warhorse. Rhodri Jones. And the Dragons try and inject a bit of pace. Angus O'Brien coming into the line. Carter. And once again, Rhodri Williams goes to the air, sees a gap, and watches that kick dribble into touch. No 50-22 this time, but a defensive lineup for the Sharks, and they're under pressure once again in their own 22.
I think it's really sensible play there. Good game management by Rhodri Williams, which is what you would expect from an experienced, mature player like himself.
Before the game, it works both ways, so okay.
You're testing that Sharks defence, you're testing it on the blind side, and when nothing's on and the space is there,
Respect the gap.
it's the right thing to do. Just put pressure on the Sharks. Sort of say, well, you've got to try and exit this now.
Yep. No! Pressure!
Jared Rosser under a bit of pressure.
It's taken back.
And here comes Rio Dyer. First time we've seen him with ball in hand. Rosser manages to squeeze his way through a few tackles there.
He's offside there. Wait, never got back onside.
Yet another penalty goes the Dragons' way.
Just there, yeah. Just time off. Stop him. Say again, yeah.
I'm going to talk about the...
Yeah, you need to now. Okay. Captain, already a yellow. Okay, and I think that's 5 penalties now. Okay, so get a word across. Never back onside.
That's a final warning from Andrew Brace. Another yellow card. A lot of ill discipline from the Sharks at the moment. They don't really need to.
Back onside, yeah.
They're in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, it's half a metre off the hook, off the AR. Okay, so here.
You can see Dylan Richardson just comes in from the side, not from an onside position.
Go and close the gap.
Yeah, another needless one.
On the line, Dragons.
Lydiate Basham offering himself again through the first tackle, through the second, and stays on his feet as Taine Basham wrestles his way through a further few yards. Now here's Coghlan.
Just a knock on.
Really abrasive customer. Hands off his opposite number. Dragons feel they'll need to score here now. Halfway through this yellow card period. They'll desperately want to take advantage. They've managed the game well. As Lorenzo Julius saw the whole field open up in front of him. But there'd been a knock-on in the build-up. Now the scrum to the Dragons, and they'll be desperate to score here, Shanks.
Oh, Ross, definitely. They're putting a lot of pressure on the Sharks, but they've got to come away with something soon. Big carry from Taine Basham.
He can come around. Okay.
And then Shane Lewis-Hughes as well. Here's the angle, just on the inside shoulders. He's a wrecking ball, isn't he, when he gets going?
Quickly.
But at the moment, the ball is flying out the back. There's a lot of balls that aren't staying within that ruck.
Yep, when you're ready.
Rhodri Williams will want it clean. He'll want it inside the ruck, which means the Sharks players can't come and try and tackle him. It's a little bit messy at the base of that ruck at the moment.
Seconds.
So it's Rhodri Jones, Chris Coleman and Brodie Coghlan for the Dragons up against Mchunu, Richardson and Ruan Dreyer of the Sharks.
Yep, yeah. And use it!
And that's a more stable platform for the Dragons. Rhodri goes blind again. Lydiate's got some space. Aneurin Owen cuts inside. Just a few yards short now, the Dragons. Is this the one that makes it count?
Okay, let it come.
Pressure piling onto the Sharks as they scramble desperately. Rhodri Williams, Lydiate.
Last feet.
And there's Basham, he sees a gap, he's through the gap. Relentless pressure from the Dragons. Taine Basham, who's looked a live wire since minute 1 today at Rodney Parade, crashes over the line and they get their reward for all this pressure, all this territory and all this possession.
They certainly deserve it, Ross. Sharks down to 40 men. It came from the scrum where they went down the left-hand side, and then there was just a little bit about composure, keeping the ball in hand. Didn't panic, just waited till one of their best ball carriers was in prime position. That's the carry before. Then Taine Basham coming around the corner. Low, powerful, aggressive carry. And they deserve that try.
And the conversion's a formality for Lloyd Evans. Bang in front of the posts. Easiest kick for a goal kicker. And just like that, the Dragons 10 points to the good.
You felt it was coming. All the pressure the Dragons are putting on the Sharks. Well, James Venture is still off. And you need to make this possession and this territory count.
He looks hungry, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely carried so well so far. Well, he's carried well. Shane Lewis-Hughes has been brilliant in the breakdown. The combination and back row looks really exciting.
Yeah, the old warrior Dan Lydiate punching his weight as well with a few close quarter carries in the build-up to that try.
Inside, use it! Now!
Rhodri Williams, bit of deflection off that one as Hendrickse comes forward to take it. Chance now to counter for Jordan Hendrickse, the younger Hendrickse brother. He was the hero, of course, when the Sharks won the Currie Cup a fortnight ago. But they've flicked back into URC mode now. And this man is dangerous, hugely dangerous. Ethan Hooker gets the ball, cuts back inside after that break from Julius. Julius plays scrum half. Tshituka. The younger brother, Manu Tshituka. Hendrickson at first receiver, brother to brother.
No!
And a first real opportunity this for the Sharks with the ball in hand deep in the Dragons' territory.
No! Hands down first. Hands down first, 6.
Mchunu floated pass out to Hooker. Oh, and Lloyd Evans had him lined up, but he's bounced off. Hooker's within 5 yards, advantage being played.
Yeah. Move!
Great opportunity this for the Sharks to strike straight back. Tshituka, still a man down, but just for seconds now. Dragons defending this manfully.
Still advantage.
Matthew Screech just getting in the way of that human battering ram. Hendrickson.
Just watch where Esterhuizen is. Some stage. No, we've lost it.
2 penalties. This player and
I tell you,
we saw that first carry from Esterhuizen, first carry of the game, and he certainly made his presence felt in the first half against Connacht last week.
Yeah, he did. But that acceleration from Julius was rapid. It was so fast. Gets on the outside. That's what gets the Sharks into position. And Ethan Hooker just slips out the tackle of Lloyd Evans. You just feel he's got to do better than that with a one-on-one tackle. Allows Hooker down that left-hand side.
He was almost too enthusiastic, wasn't he?
Sure, Captain.
Saw him, lined him up and hurled himself at him and just bounced off.
Yeah, I know, Jake.
But yeah, Julius just shows they give him a sliver of space and he will take it.
Okay, back 10 then, mate.
Still only 20 years of age,
Okay,
Gerbrandt
ready?
Julius. They call him the boogeyman.
Just doesn't chase with his legs.
Yeah,
Lloyd
bring him
Evans.
on then,
He gets into position, but
Jake, decision.
Hooker's just able to bounce him. When you make a tackle like that, you've got to drive your legs as well. Hit and stick.
So here comes James Venter. He's served this time for
Let's go then.
that high tackle on Aneurin Owen.
Wait.
And his team conceded 7 points in his absence.
Time on.
So the Dragons will be desperate to hold this out now after that Taine Basham try. That's one of 2 massive second rows in this Sharks side. Grobler and Jenkins, both of them 6'8", huge physical presences.
Short, move.
And this is getting close now for the Sharks. Picking and driving. The latch is there from Tshituka. The whistle goes. And the Sharks have one of their own.
You can see how efficient the Sharks are with their ball. It's the first time they've been in the 22. They win a penalty. A couple of big carries which gets them into position. One from one of the forwards, then Esterhuizen on the charge. Then it's just 2 or 3 pick and goes. But just maybe a little bit worrying signs for the Dragons, because the Dragons had to work so hard to get their try. And the Sharks are down to 40 men. This time, it came a little bit too easy for the Sharks.
It certainly did. Brother to brother. It's older brother Vincent with the score. Younger brother Manny just helping over the line there.
For that, an assist.
Definitely take an assist. And here's Sia Masuku. Sia praise good Masuku to give him his full name. Well, that has just shaved past the right-hand side of the upright, so they won't be adding the extras to that one. 10-5 the score here at Rodney Parade. 23 minutes on the clock.
Dragons 10, Sharks 5.
It's been a good opening quarter from the Dragons. They've had a lot of possession. Maybe not been able to do as much as they wanted with it.
And there's the try scorer and captain Tshituka.
Last feet. Let it come. Okay. And use it. No, son. Back off, Sharks.
Rhodri Williams, the most alert there, grabs the ball out of the sky, and before you know it, Rhodri Williams is through the gap. And if the Dragons were to strike back now, this would be the ultimate riposte.
Okay.
Sharks' hands on that ball. It's Venter.
Same as the first two.
And the Dragons penalised for not releasing.
Made amends for his yellow card.
Nothing from me, right? Okay, let's go.
Again, there's some good back rows on show today, especially at the breakdown.
Okay, let's go.
So difficult to move these players once they're set in position. Part of it is just being able to dominate the contact. And I think from a Dragons point of view, there's no doubt this Sharks pack is big. These players are big. There's no point trying to go hard on them. As we saw in the first few minutes, when players go low and take them down straight away, you're able to get over the ball and you're able to slow that big Sharks team down. When you start going high and you start slipping off tackles, like the Dragons did in their 22, that's when the Sharks become dangerous.
Dylan Richardson throw this one in. Jason Jenkins dabs it down to his scrum half.
And use it. One.
And no one claimed that, but it's gone forward twice. First off a Shark's hand, so it'll be a scrum to the Dragons.
First one into him.
It's a tough one to take that in terms of where the kick was. It was in heavy traffic. For a player coming forward like Jared Ross, there's so many bodies in the way.
Okay, let's go. Better last scrum, guys. Yeah.
This is where I want to see the Dragons really start to be positive. You've got a lot of options here. You've got Rhodri Williams, who's electric off that base. Jared Ross right behind as well. You've got so many ball players and creativity in that back line. You want to see him try something, try and manipulate this big Sharks defence.
Point! Sit! Stay!
That's a quick strike from the Dragons at the feet of Taine Basham. And here comes Rhodri Williams into space. Clears past Hendrickson. Rio Dyer's got a bit of room on the right-hand side. Cuts back inside.
Last feet!
Brilliant attack from the Dragons. The ball is inches away from the line now. They need support quickly. As Coghlan wriggles his way towards the line, just short. Millimetres short. Composure required now from the Dragons as the Sharks desperately defend their line. And there it is, they're over the line. Andrew Brace right on the spot. And it looks like it's Chris Coleman, who didn't even think he'd be starting this game, who's touchdown for the Dragons.
We saw a set-piece move from Glasgow against Benetton last week, which was just absolutely perfect. I tell you what, that Dragons move off that scrum is near as good as that. Everyone is an option. A really good set-piece attack. The hole opens up for Rhodri Williams. He gives it right at the right time. He's being covered. The worst thing he can do is die with that ball. He doesn't. He gives it to Rio Dyer, who gets close. Watch his ball out the back. You can see the Sharks players all on their heels, all stuck, which means you can't cover. You can't get on the inside shoulder. Rio Dyer does the right thing, cuts back inside. That is a superb set-piece attack from the Dragons, exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, clinical stuff. And Rhodri Williams showing that at the age of 31, he hasn't lost any of his pace. Electric break from Williams, but unfortunately the conversion attempt drifts just wide. So the score will remain 15-5, but it's still a pretty decent 10-point cushion for the home side.
Really good confidence boost as well for the team.
I agree.
To know you can break the Sharks like that off set piece. exactly what he needed to do. Held the defenders in that midfield. And Rhodri Williams coming round them with a bit of pace. Linked brilliantly as well.
Not held. Step back. Hold in front. Take it back. Dragons! Hold on.
Masuku sends that one high up into the Newport skies, but Angus O'Brien composed as ever. He's held up in the tackle, but his Dragons mates get behind him and keep that maul motoring towards the halfway line.
But it's from a catch, fellas. It's from a catch. It's Dragons ball.
So from the catch, so the scrum goes to the Dragons right on halfway.
So Dragons ball, more formed, yeah.
See a lot of players not quite sure of the rules. There isn't much point holding him up there because off a kick you can't do it.
From a catch, the Dragons ball. Let's go, let's go.
Hughes there with a bib, carrying the water. Last year's captain.
Strong pose that as well.
Very strong.
Power posing on the touchline.
Seconds.
Now the key to the last try was a set piece, and it was really clean. Taine Basham get that ball away pretty quickly. They want something similar again. It just makes life so much easier. You've got a good set piece, a good scrum.
So that's unfortunate for the Dragons. Rhodri Jones on the far side, the man at fault.
Forward, one folding in.
Andrew Brace was round that side. A lot of pressure on Rhodri Jones from Ruan Dreyer. Folds in, which means he drops his shoulder on the inside and collapses. There you can see him. Number one just folds in, like Andrew Brace is saying. Pressure's on him. Was too much.
Sharks. Captain. Captain. 6.
So the last time the Sharks were in the Dragons 22, they came away with points. They were pretty clinical. They've not had much time in the Dragons territory so far this evening, but they've made it count when they've been there.
One stop.
Just trying to get this maul moving. It's not moving particularly fast. Dragons managed to get amongst it. Have they stolen the ball?
No hands.
It's emerged on the Sharks side. And there's Grobler.
No, no.
One of those hulking second rows in this Sharks pack. Richardson, Esterhuizen, but he's disrupted by Rhodri Williams. It's a knock-on. Not a deliberate one. It looks like it just happened
so it's just a knock-on in
as a result of the tackle. But Esterhuizen has had very little opportunity to express himself in this opening half an hour.
No, he hasn't. Not really. There's not been much set piece from the Sharks, which means he can't really get into the game. You probably, from playing the game, you sort of know what you're doing there when you come into a tackle like that. It wasn't clear and obvious, but he knows deep down. You just leave that arm there just in case. But no, Esterhuizen, you've got to watch him 5 metres out. You've got to watch him from set piece because the angles he hits, especially off line out between that tail gunner and that 10, are huge. And that was where the Dragons seemed to try against the Ospreys at the start of the season.
John Plumtree there in the middle, the Sharks' brains trust. Father, of course, of Taine Plumtree, the Wales international back rower.
So this is Andre Esterhuizen territory now. But the beauty about him and what makes him such a good player is he's got those subtle touches as well. So just when you think he's going to carry and take it over that gain line and you all stop for him, he can play it at the back, a lot like Sione Tuipulotu for Glasgow. They're the worst ones, the ones that got multiple threat, the ones that got vision and power.
Yeah, for those who were watching Cardiff Glasgow last night, it was a masterclass from Tuipulotu. Interesting kick from Masuku into the hands of Edouard Keita, who's had a quiet evening so far on the right wing for the Sharks. Hendrickse shows his experience there, doesn't throw a miracle ball, keeps hold of it until the support runners are in place. Now they go out the back, and there's Julius. And this man may look like he's in the wrong part of the field, but he is electric, trust me. Mchunu.
Steal is good, no advantage.
Give him a bit of open space,
One to the knee.
and he is dangerous.
Just took a little bit of time, that step, though, didn't it? Wasn't quite like a Rio Dyer.
Number 1 to the knee.
No, his fibres don't twitch quite so fast. But he's
you could see what he wanted to do before he did it.
One to the knee, and then the other one down.
The heir to the beast. They're calling him the new beast. But for those of you who do watch your South African rugby, he scored an absolute worldie a couple of years ago against the Lions in Joburg. Ran 50 metres.
Okay, let's go. 6. Yeah, it's good for me at the moment, Jason. 3, 4, 6. Not too big.
So here's
Sharks.
Dylan Richardson, the man who, courtesy of his Edinburgh-born father, was able to play for Scotland.
Big moment, that is. Big
Huge.
moment, because the Sharks were so efficient last time they were in this position. No matter what you got planned, the key is just win that line out. They couldn't. We just saw a shot of all the penalties. It's been a game of quarters, really. Dragons started off so promisingly with the first 20 minutes.
Lads, we have a responsibility to speed this up. Okay?
They've had to weather a little bit of storm now, as a little bit of momentum was with the Sharks. But that is a great reward for the Dragons. Got to be basic now.
Seconds.
Just clear their lines.
Off the knee now.
1 or 2 carries, get yourself in a good position to box kick, and make sure it's on the money.
Crouch! Okay. Guys, come on. Let's go. I know.
So just
Quick
under
reset.
5 minutes left of this first half here in Newport. Dragons have a 10-point cushion.
Seconds.
Let's go, lads. Ready? Let's go.
I'd be looking at someone like Harry Wilson just to carry off this scrum.
Point!
But he's far out. Might be an Aneurin Owen.
Sit! Stable.
The Sharks putting a lot of pressure on that Dragons scrum, but Andrew Brace says they've wheeled it. And the penalty goes in the Dragons' favour, so they will now get a chance to clear their lines.
That's golden. Golden for the Dragons. Penalised in the last scrum, I think it was Rhodri Jones,
Don't need to do that, lads.
just for falling in. This time, some of the dark arts of the scrummaging. The Sharks wheeling it round. Watch this scrum now. You can see him look like a pretty good shove initially from the Sharks, but then they wheel it round, which is illegal. You've got to drive straight.
Andrew Brace wasn't fooled. He could see what was going on. So up to the halfway then. Just inside the Dragons, the Sharks half. Clean take from Shane Lewis-Hughes. Basham again.
No!
This time selling the dummy and charging through the first tackle. That's lovely stuff. Rio Dyer coming from deep onto the offload from Ben Carter. Rhodri Jones, but just behind Lloyd Evans. He recovers well. Now the Dragons ship it left. Jared Ross has got a bit of space on the left. A sliver of space, shrugs off the tackle. Inside to Rhodri Williams. And Rhodri Williams will not be touched. He will dive under the posts for a third try for the Dragons. And that was a magnificent score from deep. Dragons showing enterprise, showing intent. And Rhodri Williams showing a clean pair of heels to the defence.
How good is this Dragons attack at the moment? Again off set piece. Taine Basham up the middle. The passes weren't that clear, but they knew where they wanted to go. It's a lovely ball there from Angus O'Brien, and the pace of Rosser is excellent. It's so good. Cuts back inside then. You just think maybe Hendrickse could stay out there. He sells himself a little bit early, which makes the decision easy for Angus O'Brien. But the pace from Rosser surprises the Sharks, bursting down that left-hand side. And Rhodri Williams running a support line like all good scrum halves do on the inside.
Strength as well from Rosser to shrug off the tackle of Tshituka.
But what I like about that, when Rosser got the ball, he just pinned his ears and he went for it. There was no indecision. You know, if you're a little bit hesitant there, you're going to get caught, but he didn't. He went for it.
Well, impassive from Di Flanagan, who's just alongside us here in the commentary box, but inwardly he will be delighted.
And this is what rugby can do. You know, 2 minutes ago, they got a scrum on their 5 metre line. All of a sudden now, they're 22 points to 5 up. Great attack from the Dragons.
Use it!
So now 3 scores ahead, the Dragons, as half-time is approaching.
Yeah, take him back.
This is dream territory. The Dragons have never beaten the Sharks in the 3 seasons since the Big Four from South Africa joined the URC. But this is a very promising position.
I think it's really important now that the Dragons don't let the Sharks back in before half-time. Sharks be desperate to try and get some points on the board.
Venter sees a wall of black and amber in front of him. Now here's Julius. Oh, the little hot step, and he's through. So dangerous. Hooker, beautiful hands. Esterhuizen back to Hooker, and that is absolute magic. Hendrickse under the posts. Genius.
That's what they didn't want. Just spoke about it, trying to keep a clean sheet until half-time. Just changes the momentum, changes the swing of the game. Again, it was Julius. That pace is absolutely electric, just wriggles at the tackle, but look at the acceleration then. Then it's the interlink in play between Esterhuizen and Hooker. A 1-2. A smart play as well, putting it on the inside to Hendrickse, get under the post, make the kick easier. But look at that change of direction. Wriggles out the tackle of Wilson.
Julius is a dangerous, dangerous runner, isn't he? They call him the boogeyman. And that break will be haunting these Dragons players as they head to the sheds at half-time. Conversion, a formality for Masuku. And what a time to score. 22-5 was looking desperate for the Sharks. 22-12 looks a lot more palatable at half-time. Half-time here at Rodney Parade. It is them. They've not yet beaten since the Big Four joined the URC.
That's the danger man right there, Julius. His acceleration is causing the Dragons so many problems. You just hang off him a little bit and then he's gone. Got to try and get up into his face as fast as you can. Don't give him any space at all.
Here we go, Lloyd Evans. Oh, has that one gone 10 metres? Just. Contest in the air, the ball spills loose, lands in Dragons' hands. And Ben Carter, the captain, is the one who tidies things up. Rhodri Williams to his namesake Rhodri Jones. Evans. Dyer off his wing. Angus O'Brien cuts back in from fullback. And Rio Dyer playing scrum half on that occasion as Chris Coleman bulldozes his way into Sharks territory.
Again, good game management. Rhodri Williams.
It's a charge down from Tshituka, but Lloyd Evans is there to clear things up. And he sidesteps and skips his way through a few tackles before hitting the deck. There's Dan Lydiate. Tackled by Jason Jenkins, and Angus O'Brien. There's not a lot of length on that kick. It's gone very high.
Stay on, Ben. Thank you, and strip back off Dragons.
So it's a bit messy in contact there.
Strip back off Dragons, and then off by Sharks.
You got 2 kicks there, and both were the right option, but poorly executed. Rhodri Williams was the right thing to do. Dragons weren't going anywhere. Put it up in the air, but just didn't give himself enough time. And then that kick from Angus O'Brien just doesn't go far enough.
Then off the foot by Sharks into touch. Dragons, Ben, on the line, please.
So Andrew Brace just hurrying the Dragons up a little there. It's their throw in, Brodie Coghlan. And it's on the 10-metre line. A few Sharks fans dotted around the stands here at Rodney Parade. Among all the rabid Dragons fans. And that's a penalty to the Sharks.
First man.
And this is well within kicking range.
Leave the ball.
In fact, it's even more within kicking range now, as Andrew Brace gives them an extra 10 metres.
Seemed like a little bit of back chat, but it wasn't. Taine Basham just bending the rules slightly, not allowing Sharks to take a quick tap penalty.
First man.
But it looks as though Masuku is spurning a chance of 3 points and going for more.
That kick's got to be better, though. If you're going to kick to the corner like that, it's gone 10 metres. That's a perfect opportunity to get it to the corner. That's what the penalty was for. Can't get back onto your feet. He's being held on the ground.
On your front man. Dragons. Dragons.
So Dylan Richardson made his Scotland debut 3 years ago against Japan in the autumn. Throws into the lineup. There's Julius.
Tackle!
Taking it right up to the line. Smothered by Dragons tacklers. They've seen what he can do with space. Stripped by Aneurin Owen. And Harry Wilson, in an attempt to gather it, knocks it forward.
I just think get on that ball on the ground. Don't try and pick it up, dive on it. And Aneurin Owen did all the hard work there. Strip the Sharks runner. Look at that. Brilliant technique.
James Hook-esque.
I just think like a back row where you would have dived on that ball there, secured it, given the knock on and a scrum to the Sharks, bang under the post.
Let's go, Cole. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. Time off.
Time off forwards on me.
Rhodri Williams looking every bit the Canadian lumberjack.
Quickly then, quickly.
That dense beard.
He's probably got double denim after as well, hasn't he?
100%.
Can bring water on, yeah. Time is off.
Dean, come now.
Well, that was an order.
I think he needs the thumb strapped by Dean.
Yeah, Dean left in no doubt about where he's required.
You can see the Sharks players just in a little huddle, probably going through what they want. First, it has to be a big scrum from the Sharks. You'll have options either way, depending on which way it wheels. But it is one of the worst places to defend this.
But you'll have recognised the man warming up on the touchline there. Trevor Nyakane, a member of the feared bomb squad, World Cup winner, who's returned to South Africa from Paris, where he spent 2 years with Racing. And don't forget, this is a very good time to play the Sharks because they have the most star-studded roster in the entire league, yet to return after their exploits in the Rugby Championship. The likes of Ebenezer, Sia Khaleesi, Bongi Mbanambi, Oxenche. There is some serious firepower to come back.
It's frightening to think of the players that are going to come back to this team, and they cannot be as bad as they were last year. We always talk about the first block of games, and they were 1 from 7. You know, they only found form when it came to Europe. They really struggled in this league, so they're going to be much better this year.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good enough squad last year, but it's only better this year, isn't it, with the likes of Esterhuizen, Nyakane, Khaleesi coming back. So Hendrickse sees his chance. Julius, the dummy runner. That's well defended initially by the Dragons, but Hendrickse wriggles out of the tackle, and now this is dangerous. 5 metres out, the Sharks. They have been clinical when they've got within range.
No!
Gerbrandt Grobler. Richardson, powerful carry from the hooker.
Tackler, 7.
Basham just being warned to get his hands off that ball. Here's Esterhuizen. Esterhuizen shrugs off the tackle, offload out the back. Julius back inside, over the line. Has that been touched down?
Yeah, I'm the same. So goal line drop out, lost forward.
Lost forward. It did bounce immediately upon contact. And Julius looks furious with himself.
Yeah.
He puts his hand up there. He could have linked with a player outside him.
13 gold replacement. So I got lost forward when the actor scoring.
That Esterhuizen carrying offload is so dangerous. Watch Julius here, 2 players outside him.
Never pressed it, boy. Let me know if we need to check.
Ooh. This is where the damage was done. Look at that for an offload. I tell you,
that's tight, isn't it?
Do we need to review?
I mean,
I think you need a review.
Okay,
the interesting thing was Julius didn't celebrate in any way, shape or form. His body language suggested he hadn't scored.
Well, it's got to be no separation. That's what they'll be looking for. And if the ball is on the line with his hands on it, this will be a try.
Andy, just tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm good.
Here we go, steps inside, Rosser pumps the legs. Need it in slow-mo. I think that'll be a try.
Yeah, well, looks good.
Yeah, so it all determines of whether he's lost control of the ball. So if he's still in possession of the ball, all he needs to do is just touch the line on right by.
Brace was
Yeah,
right
correct.
there,
So we're
wasn't
going
he,
to just slow
initially?
this down and go from the angle, the previous angle that we had.
Yeah.
He was in the perfect spot, was Andrew Brace, but
He conferred with his touch judge. Yeah, he conferred with the touch judge.
So in possession,
Try.
And he's on the line there, right?
That's a try.
Yes. So I need to overturn my decision.
Yes.
Okay. Try is good. I'll explain it. Then, so my initial view is he's lost control of the ball in the act of scoring. He's not lost control of the ball, and all he needs to do is just touch the line, which he's done, so it's a try.
Yeah, that's clear and obvious.
Yeah, because he's in possession, so he's never lost control, so therefore he just needs to touch the line, which he does, so it's a try. Okay?
well, a last ditch attempt by Ben Carter to play a Jedi mind trick on Andrew Brace. Asked him if he was happy. If he was happy, it was clear and obvious. To which Andrew Brace replied, yes.
It all came from that scrum on the centre field, and Sharks went down the left-hand side. Angus O'Brien fell off a tackle. I think he might have gone off. He was on the ground. And how about that from Andre Essays, and a step and go. Just sells one of the Dragons defenders. And that is a brilliant example of not dying with the ball, not going to ground with the ball, just trying to offload, just trying to get it out there. Can't see anyone, but he knows there's going to be a Sharks player there. Throws it out the back door, right to his mate, Lorenzo Julius.
Yeah, you said it in the first half, didn't you? It's not just the brute force of Esther Hazen, it's the silky skills as well. And that is a very good conversion kick from Sia Masuku. Adds the extras, and all of a sudden they are back within a penalty kick of being level. The Sharks, it's gone from 22-5 to 22-19 in the blink of an eye.
And that's why the try just before half-time was so important to the Sharks, just going in with a little bit of confidence.
15 mark, is it?
You know, it's a total different look, isn't it, going in 22-5 than it is 22-12 with a little bit of momentum with you.
So you've just seen there, Angus O'Brien has gone off for a HIA.
Last feet.
So Will Reid on for his first appearance of this season.
Come back.
There's been 3 missed tackles and 3 tries, really, when you think about it, for the Sharks. You had
Timing.
Lloyd Evans down this left-hand side in the first half. You know, another missed tackle. I think it was from Wilson. And then a third then from Angus O'Brien. Just these first-up tackles, the Dragons need a nail.
And it's a test of character now, this, for the Dragons. We've mentioned in the past how previous iterations of this Dragon side would have allowed their heads to drop. We've seen a new steel in this Dragon side. We saw it here against the Ospreys in round 1, where they went down and recovered to win at the death. They must keep their heads now. Rhodri Williams again with the interception, but Basham probably wasn't expecting that. And Rhodri Williams has been a total live wire for the first 45 minutes of this game.
If you are, but just make sure we're not interfering on the kick chase, okay? On the kick chase.
You read it really well.
Just make sure you're not
intercept.
interfering, that's all.
Good tracking back by Rosser.
Okay, Sharks ball.
You can see him just come out the line, just expecting that pass, but it's not on there to Basham.
Let's go, see.
Again, did the first job perfectly well. Exactly what you wanted him to do. He's really got to hold on to that. You can just see a massive swing now, can't you? Momentum in possession as well.
When you're ready, boys.
Dragons are going through a period now where they're going to have to probably defend for large periods.
Crouch!
Big Joe Westwood there in the midfield.
Bind!
Similar dimensions to Andre Este. He's not quite as big, but he's a big man. And that is a powerful scrum from the Sharks. Lots of space for Hendrickson. A hint of a forward pass there to Tshituka, to the younger Tshituka. Into the 22, advantage being played, so a free hit now for the Sharks as Hendrickson sees an opportunity over to the left wing and Ntuthuko. And that is simple and perfect.
All too easy for the Sharks. Nowhere near them then, the Dragons. A penalty advantage. Ross had his hands on the ground, not supporting his own weight, which means you can have a bit of a stab in the dark. You just go for it. You've got a free shot, basically. Kick was perfect. Look at this. That's a brilliant, that's so good. Sits up. Exactly what you want for Ethan Hooker, who's been very lively so far.
3 standing up under pressure as well too.
But all of a sudden, come this second half, there's been a lot of changes to the Dragons. There'll be a lot of disruption. Will Reed's on, Joe Westwood's on. Players having to change position. Looks like Lloyd Evans has gone to 15.
And it looks as though John Plumtree's half-time chat has had an immediate effect. The Shark side just look sharper, hungrier, slicker. And in the space of 10 second half minutes, they have claimed the lead. For the first time in this game, and Ntuthuko adds an extra 2. And it is now 26-22 to the visitors. And the Dragons will need to stem this flow and get themselves back into this game. So much of that first half, they dominated. The game management was superb. Territory and possession all in their favour as Rhodri Jones leaves the field to be replaced by Rodrigo Martinez.
And if you think about it, Ross, 3 tries in about 12 minutes, 2 minutes before half-time, then straight after half-time, they scored 2 more. The Sharks have just hit the Dragons quick and they've hit them hard. It's important now they get themselves back into this game. Could do with a bit of set piece just to give them a bit of momentum.
Good take from Will Reed. Basham.
Okay, hold in front. 2, yeah.
Lloyd Evans just drops back a little, puts a searching one up for Aneurin Owen to chase. Hendrickson knocks it on. And the Dragons drive aggressively over that ball, secured on the floor by Rosser, but he will come back for the scrum.
Well, I think this is what they need. As long as the scrum can hold up, give them a little bit of a platform. That's where they've looked most dangerous, offset piece. It's just now whether all these changes in that back line are going to affect them. Look sharp and slick in that first half.
So, first chance for Rodrigo Martinez to assert his dominance as Argentinian international, 1 cap.
Strong left side, 17.
Going back a few years now against the Wallabies in 2021.
Nice and straight, Sharks. Same again.
You're looking for the Basham, Rhodri Williams link here. Just enables that 9 to drift a little bit further, try and take the first defender of the Sharks. Ideally, that's what you want.
Westwood just runs into that smallest of gaps, but now there was a chance, but Martinez didn't quite gather the ball from Williams. Still a chance for the Dragons though as Lloyd Evans cuts back infield. Penalty Dragons, bang on the halfway line.
It's exactly the same move they did off that scrum in the first half, which they scored for 2 or 3 phases later. This time they took the short angle of Westwood. We'll have a look at this. Ball's out. Oh, do you know what? That's more than a penalty. That's a yellow card.
Yep, definitely. Deliberate knock on.
There's a huge hole there as well. Hole opened up massively.
Okay, so 17 goes to the bin, right? Okay, 17. No, it's clear line break. Okay, puts his arm out, prevents a line break, he goes to the bin. Cheers.
It's a natural reaction. It's what you do when you know you're not in a position to take it. or to tackle, you sort of leave an arm out there. And sometimes you can juggle it, sometimes it pops up and you can catch it and it's fine. But the risk you take is if it doesn't, there's a good chance you're going to get binned.
So that is Jason Jenkins, who will spend the next 10 minutes in the bin. Former Munster and Leinster player, of course. We've seen a lot of him in this URC competition.
They massively needed this bit of territory and possession against the Sharks, because 12 minutes since they've come back from half-time, they've had to just defend.
Onto the field comes Ryan Woodman, the highly rated, highly promising back row forward, former under-20s captain for Wales. And Dan Lydiate leaves the arena after 53 minutes, and straight into the action is Woodman. Soars into the air, and that is a lovely maul from the Dragons. Makes steady progress into the Sharks 22. Sharks a man down in the pack, of course, and a bit more momentum onto this maul now. They're motoring towards that try line. Matthew Screech has broken off. The ball comes left. Great chance for the Dragons as the cries of Dragons go up around Rodney Parade. This will be the time to strike, as they've gone behind for the first time in this game. Have they got the hunger and the firepower to strike right back?
Okay, onside again.
Sharks defending well, initially at least.
Two moves, no hands.
Taine Basham hovering around the base of that ruck. He's been a thorn in the side of the Sharks' defence. He goes again. They're edging towards the posts now. Shane Lewis-Hughes, the latest in this raid from the Dragons on the Sharks' try line. Round the corner they go. One more phase. And now they go back against the grain. Taine Basham. Sharks desperate, on their heels, on their haunches.
Dyer's on the right-hand side if they want to use him. Unmarked, and so is Rosser.
They're keeping it tight. Ben Carter's over the line. And Ben Carter scores a captain's try for the Dragons. It is the bonus point try, and it takes them, more importantly, back into the lead here at Rodney Parade, immediately taking advantage of the extra man.
Sometimes you don't give enough credit to the forwards for the set piece. That line out was brilliant, excellent, so good from Coghlan and the forward pack. That's what gave them the line out drive, got them deep inside the Sharks 22. You could hear both wingers just screaming for the ball. Rio Dyer and Jared Ross are just screaming because they're unmarked, but forward said no, Rhodri Williams said no. They took the physical route, and a nice try from Ben Carter.
Well, this game hasn't quite got the same edge of your seat, nerve jangling drama that last night's game in Cardiff did, but it's getting there. And Lloyd Evans is not having the best night with a boot. Another missed conversion for the former Gloucester man.
That's bread and butter as well. You've got to nail those kicks. That's brutal to miss that in a game that's so close as well, which could come down to missed conversions, missed penalties.
Yep, 2 missed conversions and a missed penalty tonight for Lloyd Evans. 7 points altogether. Will Reid is on the field. We know Will Reid is a reliable goal kicker. As the Sharks make some changes, and there he is, the big man, Trevor Niakane. 64 times capped Springbok international. One of several Springbok internationals in this Sharks squad. As we mentioned earlier, once they've had their break post-Rugby Championship, they'll all come back en masse. And this Sharks side will look a lot meaner than the current incarnation. Hendrickson, Rosser straight on him, Masuku into the arms of Rodrigo Martinez. Hendrickson to his brother Hendrickson, and there's Julius. It's a good pickup. The pass was just in front.
Onside.
Good low tackle from Shane Lewis-Hughes. And here's Julius again. Always beats the first man, there's Julius, and pumps his legs to make a few extra yards, but this one's gone loose, and Jared Rosser kicks downfield. Hendricks are chasing, so too is Will Reid. It's a foot race, Hendricks is there, falls on the ball sensibly, but he's immediately set upon by a phalanx of Dragons defenders. Sharks are under pressure now to clear their lines. Good tackle from Chris Coleman. And the cry goes up again at Rodney Parade. Dragons. And it's a penalty. Huge roars of approval from the Dragons and from the stands. They sense another shift in momentum after Ben Carter's try. They've now got a clear shot at goal. It is Lloyd Evans who's come over to claim the ball.
I'll go corner, they're a man down.
Oh. First man fall, won the race. Holding on.
It's actually Will Reid, as we suspected might be the case, has taken over kicking duties for this one.
Aneurin Owen again with a rip. Great technique. One player in there. Martinez tackling him, and Aneurin Owen goes for the ball. Ben Carter, he's had a captain sort of 5 minutes, hasn't he? Just led from the front, scored a try, and then a big turnover. But look, the Sharks are down a man. Just feel they got him on the racks a little bit.
So 35 metres in total, just beyond the 22-metre line, but 35 metres with the angle. Right side for a right-footed kicker. Stabs at that one, and it goes through. And the flames go up, and the gap increases.
Very composed kick there from Will Reid. Tough kick as well. Just outside the 50-metre. It's one of those kicks that you probably should get, but it's tough enough to miss.
There's Jason Jenkins looking on. When Venter was off, the Dragons scored points. Now Jenkins is off, the Dragons are scoring points. Shane Lewis-Hughes, and that's high from Grobler perhaps.
Tackle's complete, 6. Tackle's good for me, he's on the shoulder. Yeah, it's on the shoulder. Tackle's complete. Must come away, captain.
So we are about to enter the final quarter here at Rodney Parade. It's ebbed and flowed. It was mainly all Dragons in the first half, and the Sharks came out firing on all cylinders at the start of this second to claim the lead for the first time. But as we tick over into 60 minutes, it's a 4-point game, and it's the home side that hold the lead.
I just feel there should be a little bit more tempo in the Dragons while the Sharks are down a man still. Just try and make use of an extra man for as long as you can.
Just tackle complete there, mate.
So that's perfect. That's exactly what you want from Shane Lewis-Hughes. Running hard, changes direction, runs at arms, not into torsos. Look at that.
He loves it, doesn't he? Shane Lewis-Hughes. That one was aimed towards Ryan Woodman again, but that's pinched. Grobler comes down with it. Opportunity missed for the Dragons. Masuku. Again, it's a high kick, but it's not got much distance on it, and that is beautifully taken by Rio Dyer. Plucked it from the skies.
Keep your feet.
But the Sharks pile into that ruck and may have turned it over. No, the Dragons have just about held on to it. As Coghlan lines himself up, bulldozes his way into that Sharks defensive wall.
And use it.
All about game management here for the Dragons. They've got the lead. There's no need to launch overly ambitious attacks from their own half. But that one's back in the Sharks' hands now, and they are going to launch an attack of their own. Cater. Great tackle from Jared Rosser, straight back up on his feet, counter-rucking with intent. And Andrew Brace keeping a close eye on that, and it's Dragons ball. Brilliant defensive work from Jared Rosser and his Dragons teammates. Now they've got a chance to launch their counter. Screech tries to offload in the tackle. He's dumped to the floor unceremoniously. And Rhodri Williams thinks enough of this. It's just Hendrickson covering back there. Down the tram lines.
Retreat.
Lloyd Evans is underneath this one. Takes it comfortably and has space and time to run it back.
Dragons retreat.
And off he goes after his own kick. Someone taken out in the air there. And it's another penalty. The penalty count once again racking up against the Sharks.
Clear escort, change line.
So Lloyd Evans obstructed, chasing his own ball.
Hope we get to see a replay of that Jared Rosser tackle. Look at the attitude for him to get back and make it. Beauty of a pass by Hendrickson out to this right-hand wing for Keita. But he went in, he was so committed to that tackle. Got back on his feet. On his team a turnover. This is
the block.
Yeah,
cynical.
Good work, mate. Yeah.
Very cynical. You can't change your direction like that. You can see what he's doing.
And he's already had a yellow card as James Venter, so...
Yeah. Just too obvious.
So Will Reid opts for the post again. It is bang in front, but 45 metres out. It's a long one. Not much of a wind here at Rodney Parade. Well, it had the distance, not quite the direction.
22, yeah, 21 there. Yeah. 9 gold. Come off. Yeah.
On comes Dane Blacker, the man who started the first 2 games of the season at 9. Replaces Rhodri Williams, who's put in a very good shift, the former Wales international.
Plenty of experience from Rhodri Williams that showed today. Controlled the game, I thought, pretty well for the Dragons.
Hold on.
Jaden Hendrickson's had to field a lot of those kicks this afternoon. Bumps off Will Reid, Joe Westwood rather initially, but Westwood holds on and brings him to ground.
Ball into a 9 path. East-west, please, 17.
So Martinez at fault there.
East and west, yeah. 17.
Finding himself on the wrong side of that ruck.
Yeah. Tomo, kick first, then we tidy up. We'll just clean it up.
Bit of a blood injury there for Martinez, so he'll need to get that seen too.
Just rolling to the runway of that ruck for Hendrickson
Okay,
at 9.
Well, interesting. Doesn't make touch. Lloyd Evans buries it in the terraces.
What's that, mate?
Dane Blacker, come on for Rhodri Williams.
You needed to see a little bit of line speed here for the Dragons if it does come out to the backs.
New hooker throws in Mbatha. Masuku, flat pass. Advantage being played. Shane Lewis-Hughes again just scragging the defender, but we're coming back for that advantage. Penalty to the Sharks.
I just think it's wrong tackle technique in that situation.
When the tackler's in the runway.
Oh,
It's a hongy. I think that's a hongy.
I think that was a hongy. The Maori kiss.
The Maori kiss,
Nothing
yeah.
wrong with that. Someone's taken objection to Shane Lewis-Hughes, and even when he's starting fights, he does it with a smile on his face.
Nothing going on there.
Walk, please.
Just a bit of testosterone. But just talking about that lineup.
6, 7.
Listen to Andrew Brace here. Tell him off.
Fellas, we don't need that. It's been a really good game, okay? You're the captain. I suggest you take responsibility, okay? Don't get involved off the ball as well. Happy?
It was good line speed from the Dragons off that lineup, but then you had Aneurin Owen just with a soak-up tackle, went high, didn't really try and tackle him. tried to sort of slow him down, but the power of the Sharks came through. Then he ends up on the wrong side, and it makes the whole ruck a mess.
That's 15.
If you tackle a player like that straight down, then you don't get all those issues of being on the wrong side.
It's not necessarily you. It's once he competes, you force him into a decision, mate. Yeah.
I'd love to hear those players.
Play Mike on Lewis-Hughes next week.
Dragons.
They're quite romantic, really.
Six.
Well, that was a decent kick from Ntuthuko. He's got them right where the Sharks need to be. 5 metres out, and that's well taken by Grobler. Good counter drive initially from the Dragons, but off Peels and Batha.
Got back on side. No heads.
And the Sharks just taking the obvious route now.
Last feet.
Picking and driving. Unlikely to do anything fancy now. Just keep sending the big men at that wall.
No.
Looking for a crack. A
Onside.
fissure.
No.
Dragons talking to one another, barking orders, getting into defensive position as the Sharks edge ever closer towards that Dragons try line. It's a one-score game. A try here would put the Sharks back in the league. Esterhazen, so hard to bring down. Now it bobbles out. It's in Dragons' hands. Lloyd Evans doesn't panic, does well. Over the heads of the Sharks defenders. Cater, bit of space to run it back. Powerful is the winger. Hendrickson, as the Dragons advance upfield and try and snuff out this Sharks attack.
Esterhazen wanted that ball to bounce up. Just probably put a bit too much power on it. Here comes the turnover. Lloyd Evans reacts well off the left peg. Some tired bodies out there. There's a big passage of play. It was the right idea. Exactly what Esterhazen wanted. Ethan Hooker was calling for the kick. It was nice and flat. It's Martinez now. There's obviously a lot of claret coming from somewhere on his face. Haven't been able to stop the blood. He'll be happy at the moment. Dave Flanagan, but nervous. He's coming down to the business end of this game.
Very much so. The cushion at one point was 15 points. Is now just 4 points. Still 13 minutes left to play in this game. That's a lot of time.
It's been swinging, hasn't it, this game? From one team to the next.
Yeah, particularly in this second half.
Yeah.
So here comes Corne Rao, very promising youngster. Another huge man, 6'8", exactly the same dimensions as the man he's replacing, 122 kilograms. Made his URC debut against Connaught last season. One for the future, that's for sure. It's a good, safe line out from the Dragons. Their game management's been very good so far this evening. Their exit strategies in the main have worked well. Blacker straight up and down, that hint of a deflection in the air, but Corne Rao, his first touch is a knock-on, advantage being played. What can the Dragons do with this? Will Reid back against the grain. A bit of breathing space, and that is another shallow kick. Joe Westwood underneath it, tackled by Cater. Coghlan, Reid, Lloyd Evans. Dragons don't want to be running down blind alleys in their own half.
Stay there.
I think Dane Blacker will go to the air soon. Kick's got to be good though. It's got to be to challenge. Get Rio Dyer, one of the best, underneath the ball.
Up it goes. Oh, and Dyer was first to get it, but just nudged it forward, and it's a penalty.
Knock on and offside.
For offside.
Knock on, offside.
Normally so good are those takes for Rio Dyer, but it was into heavy traffic. It bounced off him straight into Ryan Woodman.
Oh, but that is a big, big mistake from the Sharks. way too much on that kick. Massively overcooked it.
Okay, let's go, boys. There's a new person on now.
Went big, went for the 5 metre. You could hear the cries of no after he kicked it.
In the first half, he went
Livid.
too tame, didn't he? And
Yeah.
just kind of punted it a long way from the try line, and that time far too much in the other direction. So we're into the final 10 minutes. That was a chance for the Sharks to get right back down in Dragons territory and launch an attack of their own, but as it is, we've got a scrum in the Sharks half. Dane Blacker to put in, or at least he will when we've got a platform.
Well, this is how much we'll see progression-wise from the Dragons. Sort against the Ospreys in the first game of the season, a game that might probably lost last year. They're 4 points up now, 10 minutes to go.
Same mark.
So whether or not they can close out this game like the good teams, like the top teams do.
Absolutely, that's the final hurdle they need to cross, isn't it? Is the ability when they're in the lead and in the ascendancy to shut out the opposition.
Seconds.
And we saw them do it in reverse against the Ospreys a fortnight ago. They fell behind late on, but had the composure, had the will to come back into it and to ultimately win.
And it's Blacker and Reid that need to lead from the front with this.
Ball away.
Big scrum for the Sharks, but Taine Basham scoops it up at the base and makes a bit of ground. It's good play from the flanker who switched to number 8. And Rio Dyer, who appeared to be running down a blind alley and coughed up the ball. So as we approach the last straight of this game, a bit of fatigue kicking in, a bit of...
Okay, let's go, lads, let's go.
Yep.
It was knocked out of his hand, if we're honest, which went backwards. I don't know if it'll be called back for that.
Well, they're not happy. He's really unhappy. Yep.
Seconds.
They are difficult to spot, but it was knocked out of Rio Dyer's hand, which isn't classed as a knock-on. Real time, it looks like a knock-on.
He doesn't appear too outraged himself, does he, Rio Dyer? Just frustrated more than anything.
Both together.
Okay, both front rows coming up at the same time, so the ball is out. And the Sharks are using it, and there's Esterhuizen, one of his trademark bulldozing runs. He wasn't held, so he was able to get back up on his feet. But it is all getting very messy now, Shanks.
Yeah. You just can't keep giving Sharks opportunities like that. I know it's really difficult because you've got such a big player like Esterhuizen, but he needs to go down early.
The same for them down there.
And it's easier said than done because that is what he's good at, is carrying. But then as soon as Andrew Brace calls tackle, you've got to leave the ball alone. You can't. See, Ryan Woodman does a really good job. It's called tackle here. Ball's got to be left alone.
Okay. Captain.
Well, this is a critical part of the game. Sharks line-out has been perfect so far this evening.
Hold the 10.
It's been 2 knock-ons and a penalty in the last 3 minutes. It's gifting Sharks possession territory.
No one challenging from the Dragons there, just opting to stay down and make sure that Maul didn't get a shift on. And Ro Jacobs, big powerful presence there on the tight head. Paul Ral, fresh legs, fresh lungs from the Sharks. There's Niakane. All the experience in the world.
No, the ball's there. It's good.
From the replacement loose head.
No hands too!
And anger and frustration from the Dragons there.
Tackle assist.
As Brodie Coghlan gives away a penalty, advantage being played. And we'll go back for that advantage now.
An opportunity, stayed around the ball too.
Now then.
Number 2, come away from the tackle.
The Sharks last week, of course, carrying a 27-7 lead into half-time against Connacht. Eventually lost the game 36-30.
You've seen those penalties given to the defending team for Brodie Coghlan there, but Andrew Brace's interpretation was it's a ruck, you've got to let your hands go, and he did warn him.
He warned him.
Saw it last night for the Scarlets with Van der Merwe. Told him to let go, he didn't, gave a penalty away. You just got to have your wits about you. You've got to be constantly listening to the ref, and it's tough out there because you're thinking about your next job. You're trying to blank out the noise, but when it comes to the referee, all the top players constantly listen to him, working with him.
Let's go, Sharks, in!
Well, Luke Yendle is on. He was the hero of Rodney Parade a fortnight ago, scoring that try that consigned the Ospreys to defeat. He's got a different role to play here now. Esterhuizen, so powerful, just about holds onto the ball in the tackle. Hendrickse follows up. Desperate defence for the Dragons. They have to hold the Sharks out here. 5 minutes left at Rodney Parade in what has been an absorbing game of rugby. Is there one last twist to come? Dragons hurling themselves into these tackles. They need to be careful. They've given away 5 consecutive penalties. They can't afford to give away more. 7 phases now for the Sharks. Well, how critical might that be? There's the trademark smile from Shane Lewis-Hughes. Is anyone enjoying this as much as he is?
A big moment there for the Dragons. Just defending carry after carry. The pressure's right on them. I thought when Jordan Hendrickse went for the line 3 or 4 phases before, they probably should have carried him over. Sort of turtle rolled him on his back. He's pumped, isn't he? Brodie Coghlan gave the penalty away, which allowed him to get into this position. But now it's about cool heads. It's about composure, closing out this game.
Time will go back on when you're ready.
I mean, the reaction from the players. Aneurin Owen nearly burst a blood vessel celebrating that.
Yeah, and you think
decision.
emotionally they're there. They're where they need to be. It's just trying to control that a little bit. Really got to work with Andrew Brace here. There's got to be clarity in calling, clarity in decision making. No need to overplay anything at all now, but you've got to kick on your own terms. Just thinking about your job.
Control your weight, Sharks. Crouch. Bind.
So Dane Blacker prepares to put in. They're not where they want to be on the pitch, but the ball is in their possession, the Dragons. And Taine Basham, lovely carry from Taine Basham off the base of the scrum.
See, I don't think there's any need to play quick there, Ross. You've just passed it to Lloyd Evans, who's a back.
Yep, he's not going to bust a hole, is he? Will Reid, boot to ball. He hasn't got much distance on it, but it is at least beyond the 22, and they can breathe a little more easily than they could 30 seconds ago.
It's little things like that. That Basham carry was huge. Gets him right on the front foot. There's no need to throw it to Lloyd Evans then. You take your time. You can box kick that. You know, as it happened then, it was a rush kick. And it's just giving them a line out outside the Dragons 22 when it could be on the 40-metre line. This is Esterhuizen territory again.
Certainly is. There he is, hands on his knees, preparing himself. Mbatha to Raal, counter push from the Dragons. It doesn't go to Esterhuizen, it goes to Francois Venter. Another Springbok international. There's Jacobs. The big burly tight head prop. There's men over now for the Sharks if they can work it left. Was that forward? Pass is good, says the referee. Hendrickse, 2.5 minutes left. Matthew Screech with the tackle. He had to be careful there, Screech, on the wrong side of that ruck. Sharks throwing everything at this. There's Esterhuizen. Blacker misses the tackle. Knock on being shouted, but it's a penalty to the Sharks. And this is incredibly tense. Less than 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. So same message for them in the first half. There's too many penalties in this area. Okay? So the message across. Early contact in the air, early drive, yeah. Wait till he's come to ground.
And that's why Hendrickson popped out the back. A little bit too keen, drove too early.
Just sorry, mate, sorry.
But there's an onslaught at the moment, as you'd imagine, when the Sharks need a try. This will show a lot of character now. The Dragons are able to hold this out.
To the captain, Vincent Tshituka there, giving a pep talk to his fellow forwards. This is the chance. This is their one last chance to reclaim the lead and leave Newport with a victory. They were so disappointed losing to Connacht last week after soaring into such a commanding lead. Dragons got to be careful again. Advantage being played. Same offence as last time. And there's Corne Rao. Virtually twice the size of Aneurin Owen, but Owen bravely throws himself in the way of the big man. Ben Carter just trying to make a mess of that ruck. Oh, interception. It's into the hands of the Dragons, but we were playing advantage. And tempers begin to fray again, and it's Vincent Tshituka at the heart of it all. Frustrations boiling over, understandably so. These are nervous moments.
There's penalty advantage for a while there. Might have been from the line-out, might have been early drive.
I think it was again, wasn't it?
They may be in danger here of a yellow card.
Yeah. 2 line-outs in a row, they've done the same thing.
Yeah, we're going to see what Andrew Brace has to say. Here's the line-out. You can see the drive happens. It's difficult because you're trying to time it, and teams can be quite clever and just leave the jumper up for a fraction, little bit longer. Stop the initial shove.
Yeah. Okay, scrum call. So Ben.
Statement of intent, this. So there's the warning. The next one will go to the bin. We've only got a second left. The clock has ticked into the red.
So this is a big call from the Sharks. They won the last 2 lineouts, penalty against the Dragons both times.
Yep.
They've gone for the scrum, which means they're going to keep it in there.
And now listen to the roar as the cries of Dragons, Dragons reverberates around this glorious old stadium in the heart of Newport. 30-26 to the Dragons. Only a try will do for the Sharks.
Andrew Brace will have to be super confident if he's going to give penalties now. That is the right call.
Yeah. So you talk about pressure on those front rows. There's pressure on the ref too. You're absolutely right.
I agree. But then you're coming back counteracting that. Okay, so both meet in the middle. Okay, it's been really good.
So there's Brodie Coghlan in the middle of that front row. He's played the full 80 minutes today. Real warrior in that front row. Either side of him, the front row replacements, Martinez and Yendle. Yendle wasn't in the 23 when it was named yesterday.
He's on the right side as well, Andrew Brace with Trevor Nkanye. This is where all the pressure will be coming through.
Set, stable.
Free kick.
Can't take a scrum.
Jaden Hendricks is just urging calm among his teammates. The tension is difficult to bear here.
We're going to have to tap and go.
We are a minute and a half into added time.
There's got to be some aggressive hits now if the Dragons want to see this game out.
This is it. This is Rorke's drift stuff. The Dragons on their try line, on their haunches, ready for one final defensive effort. Can they repel the Sharks of Durban and send them home to South Africa with nothing? This is a real test of character for the Dragons, a real test of their guts, of their composure, of their will to win. Rao, the monster in the second row, Hendrickson, who's commanded things from the base this evening. Ben Carter tries to get his hands on that, told to pull him away.
Okay, let it come.
The tension mounts at Rodney Parade.
Use it.
The chants are still ringing out. Fans urging their team to commit themselves to tackle after tackle.
squeaky clean they've got to be as well. Any penalty, and the Dragons are going to be down a man.
Some of these Dragons forwards will have been exhausted from this defensive shift. 10 phases now. There's Shane Lewis-Hughes, another man who's put in an enormous shift this evening. The Sharks are getting closer.
Stay on, Dragons, captain. Use it.
Three minutes now of injury time. Still the Sharks come. 12 phases. Still the Dragons repel them. Can they hold them out?
No.
Any error from either side could be fatal.
And use it. No.
There's a dent.
Let it come there.
Now they're close.
Last feet, Dragons.
And Aneurin Owen, bloodied as he is, on the line. Desperate to repel these last surges, these charges at the line for the visiting Sharks. There's Niakane, the Springbok.
No.
And Aneurin Owen, blood dripping down his forehead. The epitome of a warrior. He will throw everything at this to prevent the Sharks getting over the line, but there's Esterhuizen. And there's Aneurin Owen. It's gone forward, and it's a try at the death for the Sharks as they raise their arms aloft. Will Reid is desperately protesting, but the South African fans in the crowd are waving their flags. The drama, the tension has stretched to nearly 5 minutes into injury time. But it looks like the Sharks at the death.
Try. I've got knock on by Dragons
snuck
first.
Victory.
Played the advantage and then they scored on the line. So just confirm that, mate.
Yeah, we'll just get the footage for you now. Stand by.
What looked like an act of heroism from Aneurin Owen.
No.
If only he'd held on to that ball.
It's knock on Dragons. Yeah, mate. So it's first there by Dragons on the intercept, right? And then he picks it up. And then I've got try on the line, but just confirm that.
Yeah, so just let's have a look at the knock on to start with.
So pass on the intercept, knocks on by Dragons, picks it up.
Try.
And then he grounds it on the line.
All or nothing. He went for it. Close to coming off, but not the ball on.
So yeah, got clear knock on by Dragons, boy.
Correct.
Sharks picks it up, and I've got grounding on the line then, so if you have a picture to show that.
And you have the ball on the line. Okay, just stand by. So you have that ball on the line.
Yeah, it's clearly on the line.
Okay.
He makes that catch. You know, he's the hero. He doesn't.
And then he grounds it on the line there, yeah.
It has.
And I've got that on the line, boy.
Yeah, you've got it on the line. I don't
Creating
have
a
anything
try
to
for
overturn
the
your
Sharks.
It's clear
grounding
knock
decision.
on, that was my view live, but on the intercept. And I played the advantage, and then Sharks pick it up and score on the line there. Okay.
That's tough for the Dragons to take.
Really tough.
But the Sharks did not give up at all. Relentless pressure towards the end. You sort of felt it might be inevitable because there's only so many tackles you can make. There's so many times you can get back up off the ground and make a tackle when the onslaught of that Sharks pack and Esterhuizen is coming for you. And eventually they buckled. It's a shame, but someone has to win.
Well, the Dragons end up with 2 losing bonus points. 4 tries scored, and they're within 7, but that will be of little consolation to this team right now. They were within a whisker of a first ever victory over the Sharks, and you can see what this means to the Sharks. They were defeated in Galway last week after building such a healthy lead, and they got themselves into the lead here before relinquishing it again to a stubborn and committed Dragon side. But it is the Sharks who emerge victorious by A slender margin here at Rodney Parade. Another fantastic game in the URC. Taine Basham, the player of the match. Like Josh McLeod was yesterday, he's on the losing side. And again, that will be of little consolation to Taine Basham. He'd have taken the win all day long. So desperate times for the Dragons, but plenty to be positive about in a spirited performance at Rodney Parade. But it's the Sharks who take the spoils. Final score here. The Dragons 30, the Hollywood Bet